Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Faye Watt, and let's queer up trans rights. Supreme Court to hear trans sports bans from West Virginia, Idaho. 1 week after the U.S. Supreme Court allowed states to ban gender-affirming care for transgender minors, the court announced it will take on 2 more critical cases in its next term, this time over transgender students' rights in school sports. The cases come from West Virginia and Idaho, where state laws ban transgender girls from competing on girls' and women's sports teams. The athletes at the heart of the challenges are 15-year-old high schooler Becky Pepper-Jackson and 24-year-old college student Lindsay Hecox. Both have won lower court rulings allowing them to play on teams aligning with their gender identity. The American Civil Liberties Union, which represents them, welcomed the court's decision to review the bans. Supporters of the bans claim they ensure fairness in women's athletics, but the ACLU's Joshua Block disagrees. Speaking to the advocate, Block said, quote, "Trans kids play sports for the same reasons their peers do, to learn perseverance, dedication, teamwork, and to simply have fun with their friends," end quote. He warned that banning trans youth from playing will make schools less safe and more hurtful for all youth. Pepper-Jackson takes puberty blockers, while Hecox has undergone hormone treatments, including testosterone suppression and estrogen. Both were previously granted injunctions that let them compete, although Pepper-Jackson's win was partially reversed before being reinstated by an appeals court. Hecox also prevailed before the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit. West Virginia's law defines female athletes strictly by their biological sex assigned at birth. Idaho's similar statute states that sports designated for females, women, or girls should not be open to students of the male sex. West Virginia Attorney General J.B. McCuskey cheered the Supreme Court's decision to hear the case, posting on Twitter, quote, "More huge Supreme Court news today. Stay tuned," end quote. With over half of the U.S. states having passed similar bans, the Supreme Court's upcoming ruling could set a precedent nationwide, determining whether these laws violate Title IX and the Equal Protection Clause of the Constitution. Oh my God, lots to unpack. So let me get this straight. 2 young women who just want to play sports like everybody else are getting dragged to the Supreme Court because of who they are. Trans kids don't want special treatment. They want fair treatment. They want to play with their friends. And if the court decides to side with fear over facts, it won't just be a loss for trans athletes. It's going to be a loss for all of us.
And these are just kids. You know, like for a country that has an obesity problem,
yeah.
Right? I mean, granted, I played sports in school. I'm not the most athletically inclined, and there have been girls that whoop my ass. You know, but that's what's happened. Like, I think that adults need to just let kids be kids. You know, no one's ganging up on anyone. You know, there aren't boys beating up on girls, you know, girls beating up on boys, you know, in these sports. It's just that these adults have gotten in the way of these kids being kids.
And these adults have politicized everything, including kids. Yeah. And sexualize kids, and the adults are the problem, right? And that's why we have to go to the Supreme Court, because now more than ever, all of these rulings and all of these things are setting precedent. They're going to be historical. They're going to be what sets us up for the future. I'm a little afraid and apprehensive of SCOTUS listening to this, because I don't have much faith in the structure of where we're sitting today in the United States as far as the federal government. But hopefully, I mean, if it swings the way it's supposed to, we will have set precedent, because at this point there's no academic knowledge. There's no scientific knowledge. None. There's nothing you can really pound to people or talk to people or lecture to people about transness and all of its biological and like, people don't get that far. They only get as far as clickbait. Yeah. So at this point, we need to leave it up to SCOTUS to sort this out, and preferably they move one way. As the way this country is moving, I'm just afraid that, you know, that sets the precedent, like you said, and then all the other states will follow suit.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and then I just, like you said, it's a kid. Imagine that kid who's 13, 14 years old that just wants to freaking play a sport. That's it. And they're looking around at the adults like, I don't understand what the big deal of this is.
Yeah. And that's why I think it's ever more so important for a community as far as like adults go, for us to form our own community leagues, form our own community, like those who are, I don't believe in allies anymore. I believe in accomplices. So, so those accomplices who also have children who don't mind forming something, because this is the time to also create out of. They won't allow us to do that. Create urban leagues, create these regional programs that will allow kids to just be kids, and also
with other kids
with
like
other
them.
kids
Yeah,
like them,
or
not raising them in transphobia, homophobia, or racism, because those are inbred things that they just regurgitate because of their parents, and it's so sad.
Well, that is the big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.